Today we're going to be talking about perspective. This video is a draw along video, so you want to have your sketchbook and a pencil to work with. If you don't have those things now, pause the video so that you can get them out. If you don't have your sketchbook, find some scrap paper. You need something to draw on and something to draw with. When you're ready, I want you to open up to a new page of your book and write the word perspective, nice and big up at the top, and write the following sentence that's on the screen here. A picture drawn in perspective shows the object not as it actually is, but as it appears to be from the view of the observer. Feel free to pause this video at any point if you need more time to write or draw the things that I'm sharing with you. And there will be some times where I will ask you to pause and draw, in which case you'll do so. Once you've gotten that written down, carry on with the video. Two big ideas I want you to take away from this draw along video today within the umbrella of perspective is eye level and diminishing size. So let's look at eye level, which simply means how high or low the artist's eyes are. Here are 4 cylinders that are at eye level. The eye of the artist, or in this case, the camera, or the eye of the artist and the camera, are right about eye level with the center of these cylinders on average, right? This one is shorter, so generally speaking, right about the center of this biggest one, we could say. The tops of each of these cylinders and the bottoms are curved, certainly, but not really drastically curved. Look at how it compares to below eye level. When the artist would stand up, she now is able to see the tops of these cylinders and into these cylinders much more than she could before. And so here the tops appear to be quite circular, not maybe a perfect circle, but an ellipse that is moving the direction of the circle. The bottoms of each of the cylinders are pretty darn close to circular as well. The curves have drastically changed with the artist taking her eyes up into space. The sides of the cylinders are not perfectly straight anymore, or rather like vertical, straight up and down anymore, but now they have a slight diagonal because as the bottoms of the cylinders are moving away from the eyes of the artist, they're appearing to get smaller, which is the concept of diminishing size, which we'll get into even more in a moment. But right now, look at how the tops and the bottoms have changed greatly from at eye level to below eye level. Taking it again, the next step, these are now where the tops of the cylinders are above eye level, and the bottoms of the cylinders, because they appear to be straight, are actually right at eye level. So this is kind of a slightly above eye level shot. Pause and draw for a moment and do a contour line drawing, 3 contour line drawings of these groupings of cylinders at these 3 different eye levels. Seeing an example and actually doing the drawing there's a big difference in how much you learn. So please pause and draw, and I will be collecting or at least looking at all of the things that you draw and write down today. So pause and draw these next 3 images. Okay, so you've just done the drawing, and this next slide just helps illustrate that point again, that whether you're moving up and down or side to side, things that are circular will change in how elliptical their edges will appear to be on the top and the bottom. We're going to do another pause and draw, this time for 8 to 10 minutes. And now, instead of drawing from the screen, I want you to draw from the space around you. So find objects around you. Maybe it's, if you're in the studio, the still life in the center of the room. We don't want to touch the still life in the center of the room or move anything at all, but rather you just turn your chair closer to it, find some objects you'd like to draw there, and then draw them 2 times from 2 different eye levels. So 2 drawings, one above eye level, one below eye level, or one at eye level. So 2 of these choices. Pause and draw. Now that you're back from drawing above or below your objects in the room, now I just want to illustrate this idea of diminishing size, which means that as objects go back in space, they appear to get smaller. So here's, certainly we can do this with people, we could do this with anything, but here's just a couple of glaze containers in the ceramic studio. They're the same height. When they're lined up right next to each other in space, we can see that they're the same height and size. When this one on the right is pushed back on the table, it now appears visually to be quite a bit smaller than the other one. Particularly, we can see it in terms of height. We can also see it in terms of the width. The eye level has stayed the same. We can see that. A good way to kind of look at that is see how this line on the labeling, it lines up here, and it's still kind of lined up here, and it's still pretty lined up here. Even though this glaze container on the right is getting farther away, the eye level is remaining the same, so they're still kind of aligned in the center. But the tops are getting further apart and the bottoms are getting further apart. And notice how that's happening. Pause and draw here as well. 3 different views of these containers, or really I guess it's the same view, but the container's distance is changing. So pause and draw an example of this diminishing size from the screen. Okay, now we are going to look at this a slightly different way, and we're going to be drawing in 1-point perspective. So just follow along with these next few slides. Turn your sketchbook so that you're working in landscape, like this box is in landscape. In other words, it's wider than it is tall. And then draw a straight line across. This is where it's going to be helpful to grab a ruler from the closet or some sort of straight edge that you have. Draw a straight line across. This is going to be called our horizon line. The horizon line is really the same as saying where your eye level is. You are going to put an X in the middle of this line and label it VP for vanishing point. Draw a square somewhere beneath the horizon line, and this is going to be the front of our box. Make sure that it's truly a square, that it's got right angles, and the top is mostly parallel with the horizon line. After that, I want you to draw 4 lines that connect the corner of your square straight back to the vanishing point. Each corner straight back to the vanishing point. These are going to be our converging lines. Then to complete the box, you will draw a horizontal line, so parallel with the front of the box, the top front of the box, and you'll connect it between the converging line that stemmed from the top corner here over to the converging line that stemmed from the other top corner there. Then where you just finished this line, you're going to go straight down until it hits the converging line that stemmed from this bottom corner here. If you happen to have drawn your square on this side, it would just be a mirror version of what you're seeing here. Pause as you need. To finish the box, just erase those vanishing point lines or converging lines, and then shade your box, imagining that our light source is maybe kind of in the position like maybe right up here, so that this would be the lightest, this would be the darkest, this would be the middle. You've just made a box in 1 point perspective, where the back of the box is demonstrating diminishing size, and the vanishing point is allowing us to get the edges to look pretty realistic. I want you to keep doing this at least one more time. If you were to continue and go crazy with drawing boxes, which is kind of fun, it might look something like this. But I want you to pause and draw one more box somewhere above or below the horizon line, and follow the steps before to draw then converging lines going back to your vanishing point, and then complete the back of the box, erase the lines and shade. Pause and draw. Here's a real life example of these ideas at play. Here, this is the hallway. This is the doorway going into, I think now it's EAC 1, and these are the doors going down to W17 and W19. So that's where you are in the building. This picture was taken a few years ago, so some of the paint looks a little bit different. But notice that the vanishing point is where your eye level, this green line, intersects with where the person, the artist, is standing, where you theoretically would be standing if you were looking at this scene, left and right in the room. So here's the position of the artist, left and right. Here's the eye level, up and down. And where those things converge is the vanishing point. And the vanishing point then can be used to draw all of the edges that are going back into space, of all the details of this room, so that it appears as we see it. What's really, really cool about 1 point perspective is that it's just a way of showing us how our eyes see the world, which it has to do with our anatomy of our eye, really. As soon as you start to see this pattern, you'll see it everywhere. It's really, really fascinating, and can allow us as artists to draw the world around us in a realistic way. So far up to this point, we had talked about contour drawing, value, contrast, proportion, what a portrait is, and today we're adding these words. Going forward, we're also adding these words. So depth kind of refers to like the distance in space, near and far. Converging lines are those lines that go back to the vanishing point, that help us draw things in realistic space, accommodating for diminishing size. Foreground means things that are closer to the viewer, background things that are further away, Perspective is the concept we've been talking about this whole time. Horizon line is sort of the same as saying eye level, and vanishing point is that spot where everything seems to disappear off into the distance. The ways that artists show this illusion of depth or that there is three-dimensional space in an image include overlapping, diminishing size, placement, detail, color, converging lines. These are all ways to show depth. In this example, how do you see depth being created? Pause and draw, sketch this out in your sketchbook, and write what are the ways that you see of these six examples. Is there overlapping? Is there diminishing size? The placement, like where the objects are in the picture plane, detail, color, converging lines. What do you see happening here? And we'll compare it to this one. So we'll pause and draw yet again. How is the artist showing depth in this picture? This is where we'll end our lesson, and we'll pick up next time.